Beautiful weather, mostly clear overnight, low around 64. Looking at a sunny Sunday that peaks around 86 degrees. Highs in the low to mid 70s at the beaches, 80s to low 90s for Metro LA, OC, 90s to low hundreds for the valleys and IE. We lead local. From the KFI 24-hour newsroom, I'm Mark Ronner.
We do have a closure in the Costa Mesa area, 405 southbound from Fairview to the 73. All lanes coned off until 9 a.m. due to bridge work. New Ontario on the 10 westbound between Archibald and Vineyard. 2 right lanes coned off until 5 a.m. Monday. And through West Covina on the 10 westbound into Zeus Avenue, a crash blocking the right lane. KFI in the Sky helps get you there faster. I'm Jonathan Weiss.
We all have wished at one time or another if we could just do 2 things at the same time. Well, if you're about to refinance or purchase a new home, here are 2 things you should absolutely do at the same time. Apply with at least 2 lenders. Mark Tice here from HMS Capital. Having 2 loans processed at the same time accomplishes a couple of important things. First, it maintains continuing competition for you, the customer, right up to the finish line. This results in a lower interest rate that saves you money. Second, it improves your chances of a successful transaction by eliminating the dependence on a single lender. HMS Capital requires no advance fees to apply, there's no appraisal fee, and no credit fee. With our razor-sharp interest rates, we are completely confident that no matter how many lenders you apply with, we will win your business. So call HMS Capital today and let us show you how doing 2 things at once really can save you money. Call HMS Capital at 833-255-5698. 833-255-5698. That's 833-255-5698. Or go to hmscapital.com.
HMS Capital Funding is a DBA Golden Filing, MNL Filing number 2427. HMS Capital is licensed by the Department of Financial Protection and Innovation under the California Residential Mortgage Lending Act. License number 4130360. Equal housing lender.
833-255-5698.
It's okay if you're wondering, is the COVID-19 vaccine safe for people like me? And when you're ready, here's your answer. It was tested by adult volunteers of different ages, races, genders, ethnicities, and health conditions. Tens of thousands of people, a group as diverse as California itself. And thanks to them, we know the vaccine is safe. Let's get you there. Let's get to immunity. Learn more at vaccinateall58.com or call 833-422-4255. Brought to you by the California Department of Public Health.
Still buying bottled water? Really? Eliminate the cost and hassle of buying, well, it's wasteful plastic water bottles. Look what it does to the environment. So let me suggest a Life Source whole house water filtration system where you can have this delicious, clean, filtered water coming out of every tap in your home. And there are no filters to change. Once they install it, no maintenance at all. You actually forget about it. And what the Life Source water system does reduces the odor and taste of chlorine from your water. And not only are you hydrating your body, your skin, your hair will thank you too. You're buying directly from the factory, which provides installation and customer service for the life of your system. They've been around for 36 years here in Southern California, and if you're looking to join a growing team, Life Source is hiring team members in your area. Call 800-334-5009, 800-334-5009. Visit lifesourcewater.com. Life Source Water. Taste and feel the difference.
I'm ready to get my COVID-19 vaccine, Mom.
Oh, really, baby? I want to be sure they're safe. I'm worried they were developed too quickly.
Hey, I'm way ahead of you. Doctors and pediatricians say it's safe and effective for kids 12 and up. The vaccine is based on technology that's like 20 years old. And there were clinical trials with kids just like me.
Okay. Since you're such an expert now, you can help make your appointment.
Visit myturn.ca.gov to schedule a vaccine appointment. Brought to you by the California Department of Public Health.
KFI, AM 640. More stimulating talk.
Can you focus on me? Baby, can you focus on me? Hands in the stove, how the faucet's running and I keep looking at you. Stuck on your phone, you're stuck in your zone, and you don't ever cook, but I don't wanna give up. Baby, I just want you to get up. Lately, I've been a little fed up. Wish you would just focus on me. Can you focus on me? Baby, can you focus on me?
to Coast AM. Now, here's your guest host, Lisa Garr.
Welcome back to Coast AM. So why would someone seek out a shaman? Maybe because you believe someone else has more mystical powers than you? Or because you're seeking answers? Or maybe because you want to just make your life a little better by having someone else point out how amazing you are. That is exactly what Shaman Durek does. He is a spiritual teacher who actually teaches you to believe in yourself first, and then your healing will begin. He has quite a fascinating story. Born in California to an African Haitian father and East Indian Norwegian mother, and he began his shamanic studies, and we'll learn about this very, very young. But being a shaman, he said, is more than just about bloodlines. It's about a calling, and it requires an extreme rite of passage. Many of you have maybe been through a rite of passage. In his case, he had to actually die and go into a coma to physically put himself back together to really learn what he's here to do. So we will be back. We will be talking with Shaman Durek. His book is called Spirit Hacking, and we're going to talk about his journey and your journey back to yourself as well. We'll be right back. I'm Lisa Garr, listening to Coast AM.
I've tried diets, I've tried workouts, I've tried a lot of things, but nothing has been more successful for me than Health Code. I stopped listening to people who know nothing about dieting and health and started listening to Dr. Ben Bickman, a metabolic scientist whose extensive research shows that you need to limit certain carbs, eat more types of protein, and eat specific healthy fats to lose weight. His solution really shakes things up, literally. Health Code is a easy, delicious, nutritionally complete milkshake based on cutting-edge science to help you with weight loss and overall health. Martha from Florida said, my husband and I started about 4 weeks ago. I've lost 11 pounds. My husband has lost 20 pounds. The results are undeniable, especially when it's backed by science. I drink Health Code shakes, and I love how they taste and how convenient they are. You will too. Go to gethealth.com now. That's gethlth.com to learn more. They even have a money-back guarantee. Again, that's gethlth.com and use code GEORGE for exclusive savings.
If your family depends on your income and something happened to you, what would happen to them? You need life insurance, and SelectQuote can help you get it at a price you can afford.
SelectQuote found Jacob, 40, who's in excellent health, a 10-year, $500,000 policy for only $19 a month.
Not in perfect health? Don't worry.
SelectQuote found Tanya, 40, who has type 2 diabetes, a 10-year, $500,000 policy for only $32 a month.
We shop companies like Protective, Prudential, American General, and others to find you the company with the best rates. Give your family the security they need at a price you can afford. For your free quote, call 1-800-885-7755. That's 1-800-885-7755. Or go to SelectQuote.com. That's 1-800-885-7755. SelectQuote. We shop, you save.
Get full details on the example policies at selectquote.com/commercials. Your premium could vary depending on your health, issuing company, and other factors. Not available in all states.
Welcome back to Coast AM. I am Lisa Garr, and I'm looking forward to this interview with Shaman Durek. He has a book out called Spirit Hacking, and it's about shamanic keys to reclaim your personal power. And his story is what fascinates me about how he went through this rite of passage, so to speak, this near-death experience, coma, to come out as a totally new experience of a person. And what he's developed since then has made him a very popular shaman amongst public figures such as Gwyneth Paltrow and Dave Asprey, who originally introduced me to Shaman Durek from Bulletproof, and has been featured in many, many different periodicals. But he's very, very vocal about how you can return your power, your energy center back to yourself, which is really has is attempted to be taken from us a lot during our daily lives. So I want to welcome Shaman Durek to the show. Thanks for joining me tonight.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
Absolutely. Oh, absolutely. The honor is mine. I want to find out about your journey. When you were on my Aware show, I hadn't really spoken with you about life before your experience in the coma and life after. Who was Derek before the coma, and what happened?
Well, you know, when I was a kid, I was this very curious child. I had, when I was very, very young, I didn't talk. They thought I was autistic. And then they put me into these different type of programs for, like, you know, learning how to speak hook on phonics and all these different things. And I think a lot of it was because I was in shock about being in this body and being on this planet and couldn't quite understand why people make the decisions that they make and what was happening to me when I was a kid. And, but I already had my abilities with me. So my abilities were growing, and they were growing fast. And so when I was in kindergarten, I started having a lot of episodes happening to me. One of them I can remember was playing on the tan bark in the playground with this really bright young girl. And we were swinging on the tire swing. And afterwards, she got off, and I was holding her hand, and I saw her, you know, coughing up blood and getting really sick. And I started screaming on the top of my lungs. And my teacher, Miss Serena, came out from her classroom, which was right nearby the playground. And she grabbed me, and I kept screaming, and I was like, make it stop, make it stop, make it stop. And then the little girl started crying as well. And then both of our parents got called into the principal's office. And my father was like, why were you screaming? And I said, Daddy, I could see it all. I could see everything. And then the mom was like, what do you mean? And my teacher was like, can you explain what you saw? And I said, I saw her getting sick. I saw her blood. I saw something attacking her. And her mom started crying. Her dad started crying. And my dad was like, what's wrong? And they were like, she has leukemia.
Oh, wow.
And, you know, from that point, my father was very much about me not using my gifts and utilizing that level of intelligence and, you know, perception to other kids and so forth. And it was very hard for me growing up. I was very isolated from other kids. A lot of families were religious, so they found me to be, as they say, cursed, or, you know, they would say that I had some kind of mark of the devil or whatever people say with it. And things. And so for me, I spent a lot of time alone and not understanding why I wasn't invited to birthday parties and why I wasn't invited to sleepovers. Like, not only that, but my dad would never let me sleep over anyone's house anyway, because he always had this belief that someone was going to put a spell on me or something. So I kind of lived my life in a very kind of, people always wanted to come to my house, but not because they wanted to hang out with me, because they wanted to see what went on in my home. And it came to me as a surprise, because I actually thought from the core of my heart that I was just like everyone else. And then as I started to observe into my elementary school and my junior high years, that people have betrayed themselves, and that the betrayal was in basically shutting off their natural senses and abilities so that they can be loved, or that they can fit in, or they can believe whatever their authority figures or parents say, or, you know, anyone who was their guardian at that time. And I noticed that a lot of my friends would be like, how do you sense that? How do you know that? I'm like, you know it too. You just shut it off. And it dawned on me, you know, in that point. And my father was very much adamant about keeping our family secrets from not being exposed. And really, you know, him and my grandfather worked really hard on really, how do we say, quelling the tension, because they felt like, you know, the world has moved on, and, you know, this isn't normal in the world, and I have to fit in, and I have to become like everyone else. And I always told my dad, you know, I love you, Dad, but I feel like I'm here to not follow what everyone else is doing. I can't accept this level of mental slavery, and I can't accept holding myself back from being who I am. You know, I'm a sensitive person, and I am a person who has sense things, and I can't. So a great part of my childhood was being able to navigate that and still want to experience, you know, being a kid at the same time knowing that I saw things very.
Right, and so I love what you said, though, that you have noticed that people started to betray themselves. In what way did you see that? Did you see them, even as a young kid, what does it look like when someone starts to betray themselves?
You know, there's this beautiful inner light that shines in every human being that is illuminate. And when they themselves, it dims. And you start to see their energy actually change into someone else's energy, or the person they feel that if they don't go along with what they want or what they say or what they believe, that they're not going to be loved, they're not going to be acknowledged, they're not going to be seen, they're not going to be heard, and they're going to be ostracized or made fun of, or, you know, any of the above. And so you start to see the energy of a human being change from who they are at the core level to this projected version of themselves. And it looks like a mask on their being, like some kind of covering. And in that moment, you realize that that mask, that covering, is literally the ideas that they've created that has come from the world and their circumstances, situations, and whatever subjective things were going on in their home as opposed to someone else's home, that made them betray themselves. They start to project what they think people would like to see and what they think would be valuable and loved, but they still sit inside with this, I'm not good enough, and, you know, I'm not doing enough, and what if people don't like me, or what if people don't, you know, don't include me, and, you know, so the idea of that is like almost like a form of death. It's a form of complete non-existence. And for me, growing up as a person of color in America, I had two aspects already. I already had the abilities, and then I was already dealing with a lot of the other issues with the color of my skin and constantly living my life in this, I have to negotiate my existence just because of the color of my skin, and now I have to like hide this part of myself because it will make people uncomfortable, because they're going to be uncomfortable with their own power by me showing that what they have, what I have, is what they have in them. And that's the thing about humanity that I learned as a kid very early, was that human beings get upset and they get triggered by anything that threatens their comfort zones or where they feel most comfortable to stay in their prison. So you can put a key in front of a human being and say, here's the key to get out of your cage or get out of this, you know, this suffering or get out of this place. But they'd rather not use that key because the pride, the righteousness, and the ideas that they have are based upon their projection that they've built so much of their idea of their character on that they've lost track of their character. That's the reason why when people go to psychotherapists and psychologists and stuff, they're not actually working out their core issues, they're working out their projections. And the longer they stay in that space, because we don't really have a system on Earth yet that helps you get back to your core, like shamanism can. It literally is them just constantly talking about their projections of their projected reality into life and how life affected them because of those projections.
Now, these gifts that you had when you were younger, you obviously still have, but how did this the coma experience and you going into the hospital, how did that happen? Leading up to that, was it because you were so disenfranchised from your gifts that it eventually just manifested in an illness?
You know, it's funny because a lot of times people think, oh, if you're spiritual, if you're a healer, you would probably never get ill or get sick. And I'm a human being like everyone else. I was at the time traveling to a lot of countries that were in war. I went to Israel early in the 90s, We had a war there. I was doing a lot of stuff between Palestine, the Gaza Strip, and also in Israel. So I dealt with a lot of, intense bombs and, shrapnel blown up, me coming close to getting blown up. So you kind of wake up every day knowing that today could be your last. That level of anxiety causes a lot of compression in your nervous system. With increasing my blood pressure, I wasn't really paying attention to my blood pressure because I'm a type of person. I'm a very type A person. I go straight into the barrel of the beast, So whenever there's conflict in the war or in the world on some level,
what were you doing there?
I was there helping the people to be able to make it through the difficulties that they were going through. And I actually started doing stuff with the government, and they gave me a permanent visa to stay there to assist because they were so impressed that an American would come and creating all these programs for people to be able to move through those very difficult times. And then after that, I went to Turkey, and I was dealing with, they had the big earthquake in Turkey. And so I went there, and then I started doing stuff there and creating women's groups for women, because I feel like women are the cornerstone of society. We don't have community if we don't have our grandmothers and we don't have women, because they are the ones who build families. And so, for me, it was about really having Israeli Muslim women work out their differences and see that they're not so different and be able to help them. But, when you're dealing with all of these things, you're traveling all the time, people are putting you in press, and it's just a really fast-paced life. You're not really paying attention to yourself. And that's one of the things that I find can be my Achilles heel, is that I will give and give and give so much to everyone around me because I love people so much and I love this world. And I think that we can make Earth a beautiful, shining star in the universe if we just wake up and take this a little bit, even if it's a smile at someone or if it's just a simple gesture of kindness and acceptance. But I think that when we are, when we give too much without replenishing ourselves, or going back in and making sure we're stepping back into the nucleus of our being, and we get so caught up, and that's what happens to a lot of healers, that's what happens to a lot of spiritual leaders, world leaders, is that we go out there, we get so involved in what's happening, and then we go on to the next one. And
the next one, yes.
For me, it was me having high blood pressure that basically blew out my kidneys, and I've been told by many seers and psychics and different people that these things that I was gonna die, and I was like, okay, fortune teller read my palms. They're like, oh, you have 2 lifelines. Your life is gonna stop around this time. I'm like, oh, that's nice.
And that happened. So you were in a coma for a long time, right?
Well, when I first, so I died, and I went to the other side and got a lot of answers. Got to see family members. It was very refreshing. From
a reset, kind of, right?
My family kind of split up when I was young. So when I was young, we have the shamanic side of our family, and then we have from our African culture, which is a lot of African families had to do in the early 20s and 1800s and so forth. So that kind of, was hidden a lot in our family. And then my grandfather went from Catholic to Seventh-day Adventist, where it became really intense, and he became a big minister. And so I would always study the Bible, go to Bible school, listen to everything that he was saying, and there was just so many things that didn't make sense to me, And so for me, dying was for me the ultimate ticket, to find out if all of these things that I was told was true. So when I did die and go to the other side and found out all what I found out, it was quite refreshing. I would say it's refreshing for me to this day, because what I did find out, and I died a horrible death. I suffocated to death with a 10.6 potassium.
Were you in pain? Were you in pain? I
was in excruciating pain.
Mm-hmm.
Pain that's so unbearable that there's nothing you can do to stop it, because when you have a 10.6 potassium, your body starts to shut down one by one. So your organs start to shut down your muscles and then your heart. And so you can actually feel it shutting down, and it's the most painful sensation. Nonetheless, it was definitely necessary for what I've come on this planet to do. But in that process of dying, and I was in the hospital with a friend at the time who had brought me to the hospital, and I said to him, you know, there was this woman who came into the hospital, and it was like very like bright light, and she was telling me that it's time for me to leave this plane. And I told my friend, I was like, I'm gonna die. And he looked at me and he was like, you're not gonna die, I'm gonna get a nurse. And sure enough, within the nurse came, my body immediately went into seizures, and I had 8 rolling seizures while my organs were shutting down, and I couldn't scream because my lungs had already collapsed. So I was just waiting, you know, with it just, my body was just jumping out of the bed, and they were trying to hold me down, and yeah.
What an experience.
It was pretty intense, yeah. But after that, there was this great peace and this beautiful energy of liquid. It was like I was floating in liquid, and I could hear everyone in the hospital. I could hear their thoughts, their thinking, their feelings. I could hear all aspects of things going on, the sounds. I could see myself when they were, you know, trying to resuscitate me. And I could see my grandmother, I could see my aunt, I saw my family, and they told me there's one more part for me to go through. And all of a sudden, I was in this liquid, and I realized that I was standing in a hospital watching my mother give birth to me while experiencing being birthed.
Oh my goodness.
And I got to experience every single thing I ever did, and everything I did that affected another person, and how that affected another person. And I got to see how I affected the lives of every single person, and by those choices, how their lives affected other people. And then after I saw her die...
Wait, that's a cliffhanger right there. We're going to have to come back and find out more about that. And that's also a good way of thinking of life. Everything that you've done and how that's impacted someone else and how that's impacted someone else. We'll be right back with my guest, Shaman Direct.
Kfi News on the hour, on the half, and when it breaks.
I'm Mark Ronner from the KFI 24-hour newsroom. 2 vigils were held Friday night for the 2 teens shot and killed in a movie theater in Corona. 18-year-old Riley Goodrich and 19-year-old Anthony Barajas were shot for no apparent reason while seeing a movie Monday night. Goodrich died at the theater, and Barajas died in the hospital Saturday morning. The man who shot them was arrested and appeared in court Friday, where he was confronted by Goodrich's father, who tried to get the suspect to look at him and then broke down in tears. The portion of Pershing Drive in Playa del Rey will be reduced to 1 lane next week so the Los Angeles Department of Water and Power can install underground utilities as part of an electrical project at LAX. The work will reduce a portion of Pershing Drive to 1 northbound and 1 southbound lane between Waterview and Sandpiper Streets, beginning Monday and lasting through Friday from 9 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. The first phase of the project will continue into September. KFI weather mostly clear overnight, low around 64. Looking at a sunny Sunday that peaks around 86 degrees. We lead local. From the KFI 24-hour newsroom, I'm Mark Ronner.
Checking KFI traffic, we do have a full closure in the Costa Mesa area, 405 southbound from Fairview to the 73, all lanes coned off till 9 a.m. due to bridge work. South El Monte on the 10 eastbound at Rosemead Boulevard, crash in the center divider. And look out for a wreck in Upland on the 210 eastbound at Mountain Avenue. That's blocking the left lane. KFI in the sky helps get you there faster. I'm Jonathan Weiss.
Someone uses your toilet and it overflows. Can you imagine how embarrassing that is for your guests and for you? Hello, I'm John Okoyan, owner of Rooter Hero Plumbing. You're hosting a party, the water's on the floor, and your guest has to tell you that the toilet is backed up. And worst of all, you have to tell your guests that they can't use the bathroom. I shudder when I tell this story because it happened to me. Can you imagine? I own Rooter Hero Plumbing and my toilet overflowed. Talk about being humbled. Well, the truth is, it could happen to anyone. And the solution is to call 866-DRAIN-77. That's what I did, and our plumber was here within the hour. Not because I'm the owner, but that's just what we do. I'm so confident that you'll be satisfied with our services that I put my cell phone number on every business card. 866-DRAIN-77. That's 866-DRAIN-77.
Everybody needs a hero. RotorHero.com.
Yeah, 102-8886.
Hey, it's Dean Sharp. Ever since Duffy Power Services became a sponsor here at KFI, I've been getting a lot of questions about how backup generators actually work. So here goes. Once Duffy evaluates your home, they hook you up with the perfect generator to meet all of your needs. Then, when the next outage occurs, while everyone around you loses power, your generator automatically takes over and life continues uninterrupted. When the power comes back on, the generator turns itself off. It's just that easy. What's also easy is 0% interest financing and payments as low as $72 a month, which makes your emergency power totally affordable. Now, as you know, the pandemic has everything in short supply, so don't wait. Call today and Duffy will make sure your life, your comfort, and your safety won't be interrupted during the next outage or any of the ones after that. Dial pound 250 on your cell and say Duffy Power. Pound 250 Duffy Power, or find them on the web at duffypower.com. That's D-U-T-H-I-E power.com.
Contractor license 1047-781. Dad taught me to do things the right way, not the easy way. You got any brothers and sisters? 8 sisters, 7 of which are older than me. Did they teach you anything? They taught me that people matter a lot. I'm talking to Ken Goodrich, owner of Gettle Air Conditioning and Plumbing. The day I started my business, my first job was for a 90-year-old man whose air conditioner broke down on the hottest day of the year. And he didn't have any money to pay me. That's awkward. He was really embarrassed. So when he asked if I could take an old cello as payment, I told him I always wanted to learn to play the cello. The what? The cello. It's like a giant violin. You talking about the thing standing in the corner of your office? Yeah. I didn't know you could play that. I can't. Then why'd you take it? I took it because he would probably have died if I hadn't fixed his air conditioner. I took it because people matter. I like working here, Kenny. I like working here too, Zach. Get 'em. G-O-E-T-P-L. Will keep you cool, but it's hard to spell.
They forge the bonds that keep democracy alive, and they represent American values wherever they go. They are the men and women of the U.S. Department of State. Join them and start an exciting career that can take you anywhere as you protect the interests of Americans everywhere. Visit careers.state.gov.
Find the employees you need to get your business moving. Sign up with iHeartAdBuilder.com and create a custom radio ad to reach job seekers listening to stations just like this one. Get started today at iHeartAdBuilder.com.
KFI AM 640.